Hello, hello, Pancave dwellers, and welcome to another week of Kiss Community League Racing, the hardest race on Zwift. So we're gonna just jump right into this, and we're already off. I'm right near the front, which is where you want to be at the start of a Kiss Community League race. These starts, as I've mentioned, are notoriously hard. So into the 7.5 to 8 watts per kilo for the first, essentially, 30 seconds of the race. Today we're going to be doing the Volcano KOM after party. So this is going to be 3 laps of the Volcano flat circuit, and then on the final lap, instead of going back into downtown, we're going to be heading up the Volcano climb. There's 4 of us today representing the Power Dropouts, the Reddit community team in the A category. So there's myself, Hal, Mike, and Dean. And this is a course that should hopefully treat us well. Hal is really good on the flats. Me, Mike, and Dean really like going up that volcano climb. For me, it's a perfect length because anything longer is really more of a threshold effort, and I'm more of a VO2 max kind of guy. Relative to the rest of the population, my VO2 max is higher than my threshold. So I'm just trying to stay somewhat close to the front of the group here. I'm expecting that the front group is going to comprise of around 120 people today. That's what it normally comprises of during these KISS Community League flat days. So I'm just making sure I'm in the front half of that kind of portion. And just to give you an idea of the numbers we're putting out here, before we dropped down into Ocean Boulevard, it took us about 2 minutes to cover from the start to this section, and we're averaging around 350 watts. We're just about to drop down into Ocean Boulevard, and this is going to be a 2 or 3 second rest where we're going to be able to ease off the pedals, but not completely. So you can see my power, it's dropping down to 280, and it even goes all the way down to 270. And my heart rate has also kind of dropped by 1 or 2 beats per minute just in those couple seconds. But then as soon as we get back onto the flatter section, you're going to have to get right back on the power just to make sure you don't get surged past by everybody else who is getting right back on the power. So this is a bit farther in front than I would like to be. There's no sense in being so close to the front 20th wheel because then you risk actually hitting the front and wasting your energy in the wind. It's important when you're racing on Zwift not to waste any energy you don't need to. I'm going to fast forward here just because nothing really happened too interesting in Ocean Boulevard. You can see I kind of touched the front a bit there, and as soon as I let off the power, I'm back into the 115, 100th place. Okay, so coming out of Ocean Boulevard now, this is another portion of the course where you're going to have to put out power, so I'm into the orange numbers. Surprisingly, everybody around me isn't in the orange numbers. This is odd for just community league racing. Normally, any sort of incline um, results in full-on sprinting by everybody, but I don't know. Today we were just going a bit easier than normal. So we're gonna go through the dirt path, up the S's here, and we're just keeping stuck together. Here's another bit of a rise, and you can see this is a place where I'm gonna make up places just so I can stay a bit farther to the front. I wanted to keep my placing around 40th position. So that was my goal for the day. And you can see that when you surge at the beginning of those little rises, you can build more momentum than everybody else and overtake them. And I'm going to do that again here. I'm actually really close to the front here, so 14th rider, but you can see I surged at the beginning and then backed off the power, and now I'm kind of riding easier. This is the double rise, or the two tier, some people call it. So here's the second part of that two tier. And we're all really well positioned here, me and my teammates. I believe most of us spent over half the day like in the top 50. So that was good positioning, making sure we're not getting caught out by anything. So you can see that I did get a drafting power up at the beginning of that lap, which I immediately used. I was hoping to get an arrow, and then on the next lap I actually did end up getting a feather power up, which I ended up saving for the volcano climb. Just to give you guys some stats on today's ride. So this flat section here, the whole 3 laps, so everything except the volcano climb, we averaged 300 watts. So for me, that is being 66 watts. Pulling up the calculator. Let's see. Um, 300 watts divided by 66 kilos, 4.54 watts per kilo, which is kind of high tempo for me. And we're going to go back to regular speed now. This is the first little rise before we enter the volcano. It's important to kind of stay near the front once we get to this section of the race. So me and my teammates, we're all there, and we're into the 500 watts, just making sure we're staying near the front there. We're going to head through the volcano one more time before we make the turn, and here we are at the start of the volcano climb. So this was definitely going to be the make it or break it section of the course. So the volcano climb, for people who don't know, it's going to be around a 6 to 7 minute effort, depending on how fast you're going. It's around 4% to 5% the whole way up. Around halfway up, there's a little flatter section, which provides some place for recovery, but it is a very drafty climb. So you can see 450 watts, we're doing 47 kilometers per hour. So I'm still getting a massive benefit from being in that draft. You do not want to be hitting the front at this point in the race. We're 5% right now, still going 40 kilometers per hour. You can see some big names. There's Kirkman Cycling right behind me. I just saw Messino, the poison dart frog, pass by me. And Alex West is in this group. Lots of big names. Here is my teammate Dean Cunningham. He was using an arrow power up right now just because it's best to use it at the start of this climb because it's a bit faster when everybody is in the group. So that's when you get the most benefit out of that arrow power up. This climb, it's super important, as I mentioned, to never drop the wheel. So even if you're hurting, you just have to focus on the wheel in front of you. And someone already has begun attacking. I can't imagine how strong you have to be to attack a group that's going this fast up this climb, but they are gonna get reeled in. So 11th position right now. There is going to be, after this little rise, we have a bit of a downhill where I can kind of stop pedaling a bit and recover. And then it's once again really important to make sure you have momentum coming into these climbs. So down into the 280 watts and then right back into the 400s and 450s there. You can see my heart rate is 188 beats per minute. Just for some perspective, my maximum heart rate is around 193 beats per minute. So when I'm at 189, 188, it's really an effort that is starting to bite. So here's another one of those little rollers here. This is the final roller. Once we go up here, there's around a 20-second effort, and then we go into the cave. Oh, actually, no, only like 5-second effort, and then here's the flat section. So the flat section, this is one of the few spots on this climb you're going to be able to have any recovery. You can see my watts drop down to 320 there, but instantly I'm having to put out 350 again just to stay with this group because we're going so fast. So as soon as we leave this flat part passing through the volcano, it's going to kick up to around 2%, and there's kind of a 2% drag for a while here. So here we are coming out of the volcano. You can see it's around 2% here. It's going to stay like this for another 500 meters. Some guys off the front. And I'm just going to try and stay with the group as best as I can. Up into 3% now. It's slowly going to increase the gradient all the way up to 4%, 5%. You can see my two teammates, Mike Swart and Dean Cunningham, are still in this group with me. So that's really good for our team. I'm going to pop my feather power up right now just because I was hurting and this is a good time to be using it. 5%, making the most of that 15 seconds of lightweightness. And you can see 420 watts I was doing there with a feather power up and I was hardly moving up the group. All right, so people are starting to attack now. You can see the group is beginning to string out and I just can't respond to it because my legs are absolutely shattered. So I'm just going to try and stick in the wheels and try my best. I was looking at my heart rate at this point and thinking, I have nothing left to give. I need to like recover somewhat to try and make my way through the last kilometer. Here's my teammate Dean Cunningham coming around me. He had a great result today, but I'm just trying to limit my losses and not completely explode on this climb. I can see there's a couple people 1 second behind me, so I'm going to ease off a bit and try and let them catch up. So you can see my power drops to around 320, 330 watts. Not really a recovery zone, but at least it's not in the 400 watts. We got 600 meters left here. Heart rate has been hovering around 189 to 192 beats per minute for the last 2 minutes now. I believe the last 2 minutes of this climb, my average heart rate was 191 beats per minute, which is absolutely insane. So in the last 300 meters of the climb, there is a really steep kick up, and you need to have a lot of momentum coming into that climb, into that steep kick up. And there is an opportunity to make a lot of time or lose a lot of time, depending on how your legs are feeling on the day and at that time. So you can see someone just came around me, and I'm gonna try my best to get on his wheel. But once again, I'm pretty much giving it all I can give. Here comes the big kick up, so I'm trying to get as much momentum as I can into that section of the climb, and I'm struggling to do anything of a sprint. People are coming around me here. I wanted to try and catch that next group, but I just didn't have it in me. They were into the orange numbers. Impressive stuff right there, if you're able to do orange numbers after a climb like that. And there you have it. So overall, I ended up coming 31st. Um, we we rode up the volcano in I think 6 minutes flat, and the average power of that was 380 watts. So 380 divided by 66 is 5.75 watts per kilo. So almost 5.8 watts per kilo. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm unfortunately not going to be racing next week's Kiss Community League. Hopefully, I do a race before then, but this week is looking really busy for me. I'm going to try my best to upload another race video, but in the meantime, keep riding hard, keep getting better, and I'll see you around.